So
So-
just mic check here.
Yeah, I feel like it's better if it's not like this. You know what I'm saying?
So that way it
Yes.
falls.
Let's.
Okay, let's talk like normal people for a minute here.
Fine.
All right, we gotta do a bit. Like, hi, my name is Samantha Hyde, and this is my TED Talk on state-sponsored homosexuality.
All right, and there's the title.
We're so getting canceled after our first episode.
Yeah. We're back.
We're back. The boys
we
are back.
so back.
We're so back.
We never were away.
We kind of were away for a few months.
Yeah, but that's like different than like
Yeah.
we weren't gone for like a few months this time. We were gone for like no time whatsoever.
True.
What's up?
I'm here in beautiful East Lansing, DeWitt area.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was fitting that I finally, come back and see my boy rather than make him make the drive.
Yeah, since we're trying
forgot.
to do this in person.
I forgot how much that drive sucks.
Yeah,
It's bad.
yeah. You know it.
I was listening to old Unsub episodes because I'm caught up. So I'm like, I went back. Do you know how long I've been watching Unsub?
Too long.
30 weeks ago was the first. It was when they had admin on and they were talking about Avatar, and the Tesla robots. That's like 30 weeks ago was the
Wow.
first time I listened to Unsub.
I haven't listened to the 4th of July special yet.
It's good.
But yeah. So, anyways, I'm Josh,
I'm Andrew.
the Kurt Locker.
Yep. And this is Into the Deep.
Into the deep.
So, before we get into what the new podcast is and all that jazz,
How you been?
how you been?
How you been?
I've been good. I got my summer rocking and rolling. I literally just before this podcast started found out that my meeting with Father David is being moved to Thursday instead of tomorrow because another funeral came in over the weekend, and then they have to do it at the time that we have scheduled. So I will
They
get to-
have to do it at that time.
they need it done Tuesday apparently, and they already had one in the morning. We planned for it. We said, hey, if we need to pivot, move a little bit later because of funeral luncheon, that's fine, whatever. It's now at the time, at the location that we were going to meet, and they requested him. So get moved again. I'm excited about that. It works though because he still hasn't sent me the reflection questions.
He's not going to. Maybe.
So
I'll give him some grace.
Yep. He's very busy still. Yeah. As far as like parish work, nothing too crazy been going on there.
How's personal life?
Personal life's good. We'll talk about if you read my article.
Ordinary time.
Ordinary time is becoming more extraordinary by the day. And yeah, 4th of July was fun.
Mhm.
Just hung out with my parents. Uncle Dave.
Ignore the Discord notification that just came in.
Hung out with my parents. Papa came down. Uncle Dave and his family were there.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Oh, so they came to your parents.
Yeah, because originally we weren't going to do anything because we're like, I'm not driving all the way up to Papa's for no one else to be there. So my parents were like, oh, we'll just have food here. And then they invited Aunt Kathy and Uncle Dave because the other family weren't going to be able to make it. Papa came down. It was fun. And then Saturday we were at the sponsors celebrating Scott and MJ. Oh, they're pregnant.
Again?
This is the first time.
Oh.
But so they've been married for 6-7 months now. But
Oh, right.
so they're pregnant, so we're very excited for them.
Cool.
Other than that, not a whole lot happening on my end. Just chipping away through the summer. How about you?
Dude, things are great. It's finally cool enough to sit on my back porch.
We picked the perfect day to record.
Oh, man, dude, it's been so hot. And like people think, it's only been like 85, 86. Yeah, but then you look at the real feel, and then there was that week where it was all 90s.
95.
And I sent you a screenshot of like the weather in Texas. I was like,
This is crap.
it's the same temperature.
You dragged me up here for this.
Right?
You told me to be cooler up here.
It's that. No, but I mean, this is like perfect Michigan summer weather.
Yes.
Like
a
it's
little breeze.
65, maybe 70.
Yeah, it's probably we're probably gonna get up to 70, but
Yeah, go play
Good-
some.
good
Go
cloud
play
cover.
some putt. Go to some putting greens this afternoon. Hang out a little bit. Bro down.
it's not putt. It's golfing, but miniature.
Yeah. So we went there for a staff outing. It's all putting green. So it's one of the few courses that has 18-hole putting green, 54 par. It's all putting greens, but there's none of like the like windmill. It's
It's just pure skill.
pure greens. Yeah.
I'm actually pretty decent at putt putt. I've only beaten Miriam one time though.
This is gonna be fun.
This might be something we bring her up for because she loves putt putt and she is
So
really good at putt putt.
yeah, we'll have to do a fun double date. Speaking of double dating, Megan's great. Love her. But yeah, no, life is good. I mean, stuff at the parish, it's like starting to ramp up now that we're back. I'm doing a lot of like, okay, I gotta contact like student leaders and be like, hey, what's your apostolate for this year? You know, hey, will you be on retreat team? All that kind of stuff. So it's starting to ramp up a little bit. First half of the summer is a lot of reflection. It's like the month of May is like reflecting on what happened this year, where can we improve. June is kind of like this month of like, okay, now we've had some time to reflect, let's start making plans. Now July comes around, okay, now we need to execute the plan.
Yep.
So 3 stages, and then August is just doing the thing.
Yep. Oh, one other update. I'm getting more involved in the nights. I'm officially the treasurer at my first officer meeting, and then I'm also on the building committee now, which is Jeff, if you ever watch this episode, thanks for getting me into that. It's the most boring meeting I've ever been a part of in my entire life.
Yeah, my home parish is building a new building right now because the old parish burned down. $10 million. I think it's too little. I think it's not enough money. I think they should be spending anywhere from 15 to 20, but that's a whole different conversation. So,
I remember when OLGC was raising money for their new gym and like just like partition off to the side of the parish. Like OLGC is already big enough as is, and they're like, we have a $5 million and a $15 million plan. And I just looked at the difference. I think you guys it doesn't matter what you guys do. It's still a ridiculous amount of money. And I think they did the $15 million plan, and they got it in like 2 months.
Yep. Yeah. So we have a $10 million. So we have the money for $10 million. We're not even having to raise any extra money. My thought process is simply like, and the $10 million is just structure.
Yeah.
That's not inside statues, anything like that.
Yeah,
it's just the necessary
the
things.
actual
so like
building.
altar, you know, all the things that are necessary for us to celebrate Mass. And then like if you want to build you want to donate a statue, you want to do stained glass, all those kind of things we're going to do donations for.
Okay. So
he said it's going to be about $9 to $10 million. You know, I have questions, right? But I don't know. I'm not there anymore.
Let's say that's officially someone else's problem.
It was never my problem. I just have questions. But anyways, so yeah, that's kind of just what's been going on. I mean, nothing crazy. Going down to Texas early August when Megan's parents are paying for us to go on a vacation. So it'll be me, Megan, her parents. My parents are gonna cook us dinner or kick us lunch on Sunday. My grandparents are gonna meet Megan, and then we're gonna go to Shiner Brewery that afternoon.
Nice.
Yeah. And then so that's Sunday. On Monday, we're going to go and tour the Hill Country wineries. Sounds like my mom and my dad are going to take off from work to hang out with us. So
that'll be fun.
Yeah. So a lot of fun things happening. So
nice.
Getting ready to move.
Yeah. Hopefully only 1 or 2 more episodes with this backdrop. And we get to see.
This is not a bad backdrop.
Yeah, visually, but you'll be excited to have a different roommate.
To some extent, yes.
So we'll see.
Anyways,
time will tell. So we're, like we said, we're back.
The boys are back in town.
The boys are back in town.
The boy. I've been in town.
Back in town together. Yeah, so this is Into the Deep. It's going to be a little different than our other podcasts.
We're just going to ramble for like an hour.
Yeah, so before we had a topic, we were like, what if we did this and talked about stuff that we did?
And it sucked.
Yeah. Matthew, you won. With the podcast.
Father Matthew Kurt.
You won.
You won.
And I mean, to some extent, some things we stay the same. You know, the catch up at the beginning and how we're going deeper will stay the same. But the middle, it's going to be less.
We're just going to ramble.
It's going to be less like topic focused, like we used, like, you know, to.
Well, no, there's gonna be a topic.
Yeah.
We're just gonna ramble about the topic, but instead of trying to be like, oh, we're gonna cook a meal or
to tell you how the sausage was made. The old episodes were pretty much one of two things. We like weeks in advance decide, all right, we're gonna go do this. We're gonna talk about what we did. We're gonna sit down. We have some questions. We have an idea of what we're gonna do. That was like the beginning episodes, and then eventually just turned to like Monday morning, 9 o'clock rolls around. Hey, we need to record an episode. What do we want to talk about? D&D. Okay, we'll talk about. Okay, give me 5 minutes to throw something together about D&D, and so rather than doing that, we're pretty much just
We're gonna still pick a topic at random, but then we're just gonna ramble for an hour.
just gonna
less
much less focused, much more.
less drafting baseball players, and
I still had fun with that one. I know it was kind of like a day of thing, but I thought it was fun. I enjoyed that episode.
It took me all of 10 minutes to come up with my team, my winning team.
I think it took me like 15 minutes.
My winning team.
Shut up.
Anyways, so yeah, that's kind of the structure of it. Is like we're gonna pick a topic. You might be a little bit more clickbaity things, but we're just kind of like, we're just having fun. We're trying to replicate that idea of like, I don't know if the unhinged kind of conversations, but like those kind of conversations you have with your friends when you're sitting on a porch at 10 p.m. with a beer.
Two of you are smoking cigars. One of you had baby lungs at the time and can't.
One of you thinks that he can't smoke, and you just have good, deep, meaningful conversations, or just funny, goofy conversations.
Yeah.
But then
we just happen to have. There's a camera that's recording
There's something that's a little bit deeper in it. So
yeah, and that's again the idea of into the deep. We're trying to take some of the surface level conversations we have and maybe drill down a little bit more.
Well, or just like get people to think about things in a little bit deeper of a manner.
Yeah, and we're doing this as two incredibly ordinary, white, cisgender, heterosexual males.
Speaking of heterosexuality.
From our title, from our cold open.
What if we talked about state-sponsored homosexuality?
Which, if none of you know that's a Sam Hyde bit that was really fun. I actually just watched on the way up here. Admin results had Sam Hyde on for
what's his podcast name?
That was Managerial Outcomes. I couldn't watch the original episode; it was coming up funny. But I watched like the clip where they actually like were hanging out and like just they were doing a bit, and they talked about his TED Talk where he apparently came on. He's like, yeah, he came up with some like stupid excuse of like a TED Talk would be that was like Somalian women trying to fix their country by picking up litter, some garbage like that, and they like he got into a TED Talk space dressed in medieval armor, and he just started talking about nonsense. And part of it was state-sponsored homosexuality. So that's kind of my go-to whenever I need to like break an awkward silence, or like people like, what do you want to talk about today? Just because the way his delivery was perfect, but also we thought it would be a good cold open
because we did have state-sponsored homosexuality.
Yeah, it was more corporate-sponsored homosexuality.
It was state-sponsored. The fact that, I mean, I could be wrong. So, like, let's put some context onto this.
It's now July.
We've survived Satan month. I'm sorry, did I say that?
It was the Sacred Heart of Jesus month.
Yes.
But yeah,
we survived Pride Month, and we're not having this conversation to belittle anybody. Let's preface that.
Yeah.
You and I both have friends who are openly attracted to members of the same sex.
Yep. Don't know how many of them we'll have after this episode if they end right here.
Right, but also like, I don't know about you. I have, in as much as possible, tried to respect them and love them as best as I could. Like, I've never once been like, oh, you're a terrible person for that. Like, I'm like, oh, that's a really tough cross to bear if you're trying to live out the Catholic Church's teachings. Yeah. Like, in the same way, it's like, it's probably really tough for priests and religious, like, to be surrounded by so many people of holiness, right? Because holiness is attractive. Mm-hmm. And to just be like, what am I supposed to do with these feelings?
Yeah. I remember when we were at Franciscan, some of our friends put on a panel about, like, people who, like, Catholics who experience same-sex attraction and what that life is like. It was a Q&A, so people got to ask them, like, respectfully, how do you live that life? And a lot of most of the answers were like, it's really tough.
Yeah. And so, like, I have all love and respect for people in that community who want to try to live lives according to the church's teaching, mm-hmm. who want to live lives according to their conscience.
Yeah.
And that's not to say I don't have love and respect for the people who don't. But it for the people I'm especially in close relationship with, I'm like, that's tough, and I don't envy you.
No, it's everyone talks about how everyone has their own cross to bear. Some people's are very, very out in the open of this is something that I struggle with, and that's probably one of the more prominent ones.
Yeah, but like that's one side of the conversation, right? Like, we're not trying to belittle people who experience same-sex attraction. We're also not trying to belittle people who celebrate Pride Month. But just from an objective standpoint, like, Pride Month is public scandal and public sin. Like, let's
Yeah,
just
like
put that out there, right? And not like I'm a sinner and I want to repent. It's like,
I love this life.
I mean, they'll act like some of them will be like, yeah, I know I'm sinning and I don't care. I'd
There's a
rather.
reason it's called Pride Month.
Yeah, there was. So I don't know if you ever saw this show. It's called Wild Now.
No.
So it was Nick Cannon comedy rap show on MTV.
There's so many reasons why I would not watch that show.
I watched it because I thought it was funny because they would have on different comedians before they hit it big. Like they had Matt Rife on before he hit it big. And so they have comedians on and do like this rap show. And there was this one bit where it was like, explain why you don't want to go to heaven. It's like,
It's a bold topic.
and like the guy walks up and so each person has an opportunity. He goes up and he goes, you know why I don't want to go to heaven? Because these two beautiful women, he said different words, are definitely not going there. Look at them, like, and it's like that's probably how some people feel in that community of like, I've been rejected by my church, but why would I want to go to heaven where I'm probably going to be judged for my sins? Which is what they feel.
Yeah, I hear that like, if heaven's full of people like you, I don't want to be there.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the more common things that I've heard.
Yeah.
Or I see like in comment sections a lot when people are like, "Hey, I don't agree with I don't agree with this lifestyle choice that you make." What regardless of what that is, it's like you're just judging me. Everyone like whenever people want to like throw hands at Christians, like the Bible says, "Do not judge." I'm like, yeah, that's the first part of a much longer context passage that has context, and it's also the Bible doesn't say do not judge for 800 pages. There's a lot of other things in there.
The Bible actually has a lot of judgment.
Yeah.
I mean, St. Paul, right? He writes, I think it's in the letter to, it's one of his letters to the churches where he's like, hey.
St. Paul should have started all of his letters with, I hope this letter finds you before I do.
Yeah.
The way that he writes.
Not every letter. Like he praises certain Christian groups.
The Corinthians he's usually pretty.
The Corinthians he's not as mean towards. He sometimes has some things of like, hey, okay, like let's.
He's much. I feel like again, I'm Catholic, so I haven't read the Bible. Not true, but
it's a different project I'm working on.
But. Yeah, but like, from the experience of my reading of the Bible more consistently with Miriam now, like he's been pretty gentle correction with Corinthians versus some of the other ones where he's like,
oh, you foolish Galatians.
Yeah, every time he met, like, Paul's writing to these fools a lot, and I'm relating with them a lot.
Yeah. No, but there's one letter where, and I'm probably going to get butchered for it by people who I know, where he's talking to them, and he mentions how there is a man living in the Christian community who is sleeping with his father's wife.
I don't remember reading that one, but I believe you.
Let me. Please hold. Yeah. Keep talking
while you look that up. But yeah, like to kind of bring, make sure the conversation is staying within the realm that we were kind of talking about. The Pride Month has turned into something where, well, it isn't turned into. The idea of Pride Month is very much, hey, this is my lifestyle, and I'm going to throw it in your face. For 1 month, which I think is weird.
Yes.
Because if you truly had pride in the lifestyle you were living, that'd be something you do all year long.
So here it is. And it's actually from 1 Corinthians.
Maybe I'm thinking of 2 Corinthians.
I mean, 1 Corinthians is the one where he talks about the spiritual gifts a lot.
Okay.
And so, but it begins chapter 5. It says, it is actually reported that there is sexual immorality among you, and of a kind that even pagans do not tolerate. A man is sleeping with his father's wife, and you are proud? Shouldn't you have gone into mourning and had been put out of your fellowship, the man who has been doing this?
Dang.
For my part, even though I am not physically present, I am with you in spirit. As one who is present with you in this way, I have already passed judgment in the name of the Lord Jesus on the one who has been doing this.
Yeah. So going back to the idea of judging people's lifestyles.
So St. Paul judges people.
St. Paul, yeah,
St.
we-
Paul, who is not God,
Yeah.
judges people. Not to say that we're on the same level as St. Paul. You and I have a lot more faults probably than St. Paul did at this point in his life.
hey, I haven't been struck blind. I haven't murdered any Christians, so I'm doing pretty good there.
Yes.
Um,
But like, we know that Jesus calls the Pharisees a brood of vipers.
Yeah.
That sounds like a judging phrase. We
uh,
know that a lot of the prophecies, you go and you read the minor prophets, they were judging the nation of Israel,
there's a book called Judges in the Bible.
where they were called to judge the people of Israel. Now, why were they called? It's like, why does judgment exist? That's a deeper question.
Yeah.
Right? But, and we could go there. The reason why judgment exists, and St. Paul even says it in the passage, because we can read further, he says,
Huh, wait, more context?
"So when you are assembled, and I am with you in spirit, and the power of our Lord Jesus Christ is present, hand this man over to Satan for the destruction of the flesh, that his spirit may be saved on the day of the Lord." Right?
Yeah.
Judgment has this purpose of like, hey, I'm calling you out so that on the day of the Lord, your spirit might be saved.
Yeah.
Even if your flesh becomes mortified, even if you suffer in the flesh, so that your spirit might be saved. So,
And I think that's something that this is, again, we're jumping all over the place and it's rambling,
yeah,
and it's fine.
we'll come back.
Do you remember when Chris Pratt got like a Nickelodeon Achievement Award or something like that?
Yes, and he had his 10 rules.
His 10
the
rules, like,
pooping one.
the poop, yeah,
The pooping one.
you poop
Everybody
and then pee.
remembers the poop
Yeah,
one.
you got to pee first, then you poop.
Pee, poop, flush.
But the one that, he got a lot of flack for some of the things he said because people felt called out by it. But the one, like, you have a soul. Be careful with it. It matters. Your soul matters. And I was like, and this is coming from someone who's a sinner. We're all, like, we all mess up constantly.
And but it is like, okay, so like going back to like the conversation about Pride Month,
Mhm.
like some of the issues with it that I see is that we have people who are very publicly and openly sometimes admitting that like, I know that what I'm doing goes against the traditional Christian narrative,
Mhm.
or people don't approve of it because of XYZ reason, and I don't care.
Yeah.
I am proud to be this way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's public skin and it's public scandal. And so how do we respond to that? I mean, over the last few years, right? You look at the narratives that have been coming out, right? I remember, I think it was like, maybe it was 2.5, 3 years ago. I was still living in Oklahoma at the time when this happened. And it was the Target clothing fiasco of like
Yeah.
Target having the transgender clothing.
But they were like in
For
the kids.
children.
Yeah, they're in the kids section.
And I remember that. That was like 2.5, 3 years ago. I don't remember much between the other two.
All I know is like this year, I didn't see pretty
Yeah.
much anything.
We had a pride parade here in Lansing. I knew that. I think the week before is when we had our Eucharistic procession, which
Yeah.
is like based,
Incredibly based.
incredibly based. But we had, just this sense of like, people would say, "Oh, it's because the president doesn't care about gay people or hates gay people," and I'm like, I don't know if it was so much that. I think it was state-sponsored homosexuality, in the sense of like, and I could be wrong, but wasn't Pride Month like something enshrined in Biden's presidency? Like he made an official declaration about it.
I have absolutely no idea. I'm not gonna lie. I pretty much just didn't really. During I really do block out those 4 years. Not like, oh, it was traumatizing. It was like, not. My life wasn't dramatically affected, other than everything was very expensive.
No,
And
each
people
year,
talk about war a lot more.
yeah. So this is from the Google AI, so obviously subject to review.
It's definitely one of the lesser AIs.
But I do have the official proclamation for the White House and National Archives. But according to this, each President Biden has issued official proclamations recognizing June as Pride Month.
Mhm.
Right? And so, in that sense,
Yeah,
right?
but even like I want to take it a step further with like the idea when I said I think it's more corporate it was more corporate sponsored.
Right. Well, but
Well, hear me out. Aside from the fact that this year we saw a lot less, just in general,
Mhm.
even one like, do you remember when Pride Month first became a thing?
no,
I don't either.
my brain like
Yeah.
Can't remember it.
Let's say we were in high school. Like,
I don't even think it was that.
I don't think it was. But let's say it was back then.
Keep going.
Every year that we see it, the hypocrisy of Pride Month rears its head for me, because I see, everyone talks about like all these all these corporations, they would change their logo to be rainbow flag, which there was one company, I don't remember like the news site, but it was EW, so it just was a rainbow flag in EW, so it was like it was like someone got fired for that probably. But they would talk about like, oh, see, these corporations are they're with us. But notice how, Volkswagen might have been on your side, but Volkswagen Middle Eastern, they didn't change theirs at all. There was nothing about it, because, in the Middle East, experiencing same-sex attraction is still a state crime, and if you are convicted of it, you can be thrown out the building without trial. So it's not. So like, I think there was this false narrative of, yeah, everyone, they're on our side. I feel like at the end of the people like they felt like they were belonging to some corporations. Are like, cool, let's co-opt that and let's make more money off these guys.
So according to the Wikipedia article, which it does have links to it, so
Yep.
I trust Wikipedia articles when they link to things.
Yeah, I never
articles.
like, my teachers are like, you can't use Wikipedia. I'm like, Wikipedia is more curated than your textbook. Anyway, continue.
Well, I think you should use Wikipedia to find the primary sources,
Yeah.
and then quote the primary sources.
Correct.
But so it says the first Pride marches were held in 4 U.S. cities in June 1970,
Mhm.
right? And then it didn't really spread until in 1999, President Bill Clinton officially declared in a presidential proclamation that June would be Gay and Lesbian Pride Month. In 2011, Barack Obama extended the official Pride Month recognition to include the whole of the LGBTQ community.
Okay. Yeah, so right around high school.
Yeah, right. I mean, right at the start of high school for me.
Yeah, I think I was in 8th grade then.
Donald Trump declined to offer federal recognition in 2017,
Mhm.
though he issued a series of public supportive statements and a series of tweets in 2019.
Which, that tracks for him.
Yeah. And then Joe Biden recognized Pride Month after taking office in 2021.
Mhm.
And this is what's interesting. This is at the bottom of the article. In February 2025, Google announced that Pride Month would no longer be highlighted by default on Google Calendar, arguing that it was no longer scalable or sustainable to continue adding the growing number of national and international cultural moments manually to its calendar.
AKA, we can't police which Google shows up for different areas in the world, and we don't want to get in hot water with the Middle East.
There's that, but also just like I think there's something to be said about like the number of, oh well, this group needs to have a day, and this group needs to have a day, and this group needs to have a day, and this, how many people like
How many people don't know what flag they're supposed to be flying right now?
can't say it.
I'm not going to say it, but you know exactly what term I'm talking about.
But like you can't. If every day, right? If every day is supposed to be a special day, when is the ordinary time marked by maturation and growth?
Exactly.
I read your article.
You read my article. But going to the idea of flags, do you know how the current pride flag got made?
No.
So the current one has like, and I could be wildly out of date with my flag terminology, but there was originally was the rainbow flag, and everyone has like
and
every
version
version.
the triangle.
The triangle that was made by 4chan.
Stop.
They want, because if you put 4 of them together, it looks kind of like a swastika, and they wanted to make it seem like, and they put brown in there brown and black because they wanted African Americans to be considered gay. That's I've seen a lot of stuff around online. I don't know how true it is, but I've seen enough different sources of it that I'm like, there's
God bless.
something here.
Yeah.
But anyway,
but all that to be said, right?
Let's kind of reel it back in.
So Pride Month, right? A lot of the issues that we as Catholics have with it is this idea of being publicly proud about sin and scandal.
Mm-hmm.
So recently, I read an article where there was a congressman, a U.S. congressman, who voted against a bill that would have. So the bill was to stop federal funding going to Planned Parenthood, and other abortion mills.
Okay.
He was a Democratic senator who voted against the measure,
Okay.
saying he wanted funding to still go to it. He's a Catholic. I don't know if you know this. You can look up how your congressperson votes on every single bill.
Yep.
The priest of the parish knew that, looked up how he voted, and then made a public statement at Mass saying that this man will no longer be allowed to receive communion at this parish.
Interesting.
Now, some people will have qualms with that. I could see an argument either way. I'm not going to make my arguments here.
I don't have a necessarily qualm with it. I know, when I was taught to be an EM, you can't refuse communion.
You can't, but the priest can.
Yeah.
But also the church does have a stipulation in its teaching. If someone is in persistent, public mortal sin, they cannot receive communion.
Well, but I've heard with that, not to turn this into a confession, like the reason that I was told that was like, you don't know what the state of their soul is, and that congressman could have gone and gone to confession right afterwards.
But I mean, this is where the church would say public sin also requires public confession.
No, and I agree with that. I just don't like. So I'm not a priest. I'm glad that's not my call to make.
And it should be. Now, to preface this, the reason why I found this out is this congressperson tweeted about it.
Okay.
And put it out there and said how disgusted he is by this priest that would do this in front of his children when he's voting according to his conscience, and how dare the Catholic Church tell him how to vote. So, I mean...
Yeah, and we can go into Catholic politics probably another time.
But also your conscience should be well formed. But anyways, regardless of that situation, it's like, that's one perspective of how Catholics should respond to public scandal, public sin, right?
Yeah.
There's a corporal work of mercy that we don't use enough, that I'm glad Bishop Boyer, the bishop of the Diocese of Lansing, pointed out in his 52-week series, Be My Witness.
Okay.
Do you know what this spiritual work of mercy is, Andrew?
Nope.
Admonishing the sinner.
All right.
But we should not be afraid, right?
Apologies, there's a truck downshifting on the road next to us.
I love it here. And somebody's mowing his lawn.
That pales in comparison to that.
But so, all right, I think
it's like he's circling your yard.
No, I think he's far enough away. Well, the highway runs right here.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that. Or a highway.
Yeah. But
anyways.
Nope. The camera decided to shift over to you for some reason.
Hello there.
How dare it?
Is it still recording?
Yeah, it's still recording. It just is like the auto director is like, oh, I want to be way over here. Or
I want to be looking
there.
at this guy.
Yeah. Actually, I think it was on me. Anyway.
Okay. Well, find them. But
admonishing the sinner.
Right. This idea of if someone's in public sin or public scandal, I have a privileged opportunity.
That's an interesting choice for the word.
To help to bring them back into full communion.
Mm-hmm.
I have a blessed opportunity to help save a soul, to participate with Christ's redemptive work to save souls. And should I refuse to do that,
what's your culpability at that point?
Also, though, should I refuse to do that, am I potentially helping to send this person on a highway to hell?
Well, first thing I would say with that, anyone who's going to hell, it's because of a choice they're making.
Right, but by not, right, I'm not calling them to repentance. I'm not calling them to embrace the life of conversion.
Yeah.
Instead, I'm saying it's fine with what you're doing because I only care about I say this because I speak this kind of boldness and this kind of bluntness with my students.
Mm-hmm.
In some sense, it's a selfish act for me to not admonish the sinner.
Yeah.
Because I care more about what they think about me than I do care about their eternal soul.
Yeah. Two points I want to bring up.
Yeah.
Because it made me think of something. One, we hear the phrase that was popular for a very long time. Love the sinner, hate the sin.
Yeah,
Like,
and that's true.
we should hate the sin, but we should all like what does and me and I have been listening to Father Mike Schmitz talk about this. It was like
Yeah.
part of his mini series, and he talked about like what does loving someone mean? Calling them to live a better life.
Yeah.
If you have a loved one who's struggling with, let's say, a crack
Any
addiction,
sin.
like a crack
Any
addiction.
sin, yeah.
Yeah. Let's not even put it in the context of sin. Let's talk about something that's pretty objectively. People are like, hey, being a crack addict is not good for you. It's not good for your health. It's not good for you in any way. Is me saying, yeah, you having a crack addiction? That's your choice.
Mm-hmm.
Is that loving them?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not. So that's like the first part of it. It's like loving someone. Like we should, like if we truly love the sinner, we should be calling them on to holiness. Not saying you're a terrible person, you deserve to go to hell, but saying I want to help you.
Right. I mean, because there's two sides of this, right? Of admonishing the sinner.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Westboro Baptist approach, which if you don't know that one,
I'm familiar.
Yeah. And then there's the Catholic approach, which is like
the true Catholic approach. Let's be clear, like the way that we're supposed to do it.
Yeah, where it's like, I accompany you, I love you, I call you to holiness, right? And it's hard because having corporate sponsored, having state sponsored homosexuality, having a month dedicated towards pride for sexual immorality. Why don't we have an adulterer's pride day? Why don't we? Why don't we have a cheater's pride day?
We haven't fallen that far yet.
It's getting there. I mean, right? And I'm not trying to fall into the slippery slope mentality, but it's like the idea of like, there is a poly pride day. I don't know if you knew this.
I'm not surprised. I don't. Going back to the idea of what flag do we fly, there are so many groups that have their own special flag symbol. I can't like it's not worth my time to keep track of them.
Right.
Like what was one of our friends talked about, and I don't remember the proper term that they used, but basically they talk about like you don't like my sexuality is I don't love someone for their physical looks. I love them for their personality and the way. What?
That's pansexuality.
No, pansexuality is I don't care what you are. This is physical. Like they're not attracted by physical characteristics. It's just personality.
I've heard that being described as pansexuality. I don't know.
Yeah, pansexuality is it doesn't matter. Like I don't care if you're man, woman, trans, whatever. Like it's as long as you're human, you fit within my potential interest. This is I don't care about your physical attributes at all. I'm not attracted physically. I'm not attracted to people. I'm only attracted to personalities. And it's like
I'm attracted to energies.
Not even literally just personality. And I saw, and when I heard that, I said that's called being in a relationship. That's half of being in a relationship.
That's half of just being a person who's attracted to other people.
Yeah.
If I wasn't attracted to your personality, I don't talk to you.
Yeah. But like I was like I don't know like at what point do we like when you like there's a polypride. I don't know because at this point there's so much of it.
Right.
I've been numb to the idea of all these things.
But to go back to this, right? There's so much of just like I need to be recognized for this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some things which I think
we all want to feel unique in some way.
I think there are some things that are less harmful than others.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, some people would make the argument that why do we have a Black History Month and not a White History Month? I don't care. That's a non sequitur for me. It's whatever. White history is all of history.
It harkens back to I want to be recognized for my group's
marginalization
or accomplishments. Like
right, everybody wants to be recognized for something that they have done,
mm-hmm.
and they want to feel as if they belong somewhere.
Yeah,
and I guess my question is in that aspect of trying to belong. Is at what point are you just doing things to belong versus doing things because that's what you want to do, right? Mm-hmm. So JoJo Siwa, right, of what it was, Dance Moms fame?
I don't know what she was in.
Yeah.
I know
your wife would know.
My wife would know.
I think it was Dance Moms, but JoJo Siwa was on Dance Moms, became a pop star, and then she was like, "I'm the most radical like queer pop star of this generation," right?
She wanted to make queer pop, which was pop music for gay people. Which at the time I was like, I don't know what the difference is because
No,
I didn't listen to
stop,
pop.
stop,
At the time,
stop.
I didn't listen to
You're gonna
pop.
offend your wife.
At the time, I didn't listen to pop.
But so she made and so she came out all this stuff, and so recently she started dating a man, which
Didn't she meet on like Love Island or something?
they met on Big Brother.
Big Brother, like it was like UK, wasn't it?
Yeah. So she went on Big Brother UK, met this man. You know, they started a friendship, eventually moved into a romantic relationship. She had been dating a woman prior to this.
Mm-hmm.
Broke up with the woman to date this man. Now, a lot of people in the Pride Month community were like, "Oh, how dare she?" Right? Like
She's no longer
during Pride Month.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like she comes out in an interview with her now boyfriend and basically was like, "I felt pressured to identify as this, to belong."
Yeah.
Which, like, there's a whole Hollywood thing in that, right?
Mm-hmm. But like we don't even have to look to Hollywood to see that behavior. Again, when I think back to my time in high school, especially, high school is the most awkward time of our lives, anyways. Doesn't matter what age you are at this point. Like high school was an awkward time for everyone, and everyone wants to belong to a group of some sort. But I think especially when we were in high school, that kind of like that 2007 to 2017 crowd,
That 10-year gap.
that 10-year gap where everyone wanted to belong. They wanted to belong to a group, but they wanted to belong to a special group. They wanted to feel special and unique in some way, which we're all unique and created uniquely.
Yeah, some more than others.
Yeah, but when you start, like, there was this culture of, I knew a lot of people who said they were bi.
Yeah.
And you couldn't ask them, well, what does that mean to you? Because I had a lot of them like, oh, I'm bi. Like, they were bi. It was a dude who said he was bi. He never talked about dating men. He never talked about being attracted to men. Nothing about him said. And he talked about, like, he brought up being bi enough where I thought he would talk about what that meant to him, but he only ever dated women.
Mm-hmm.
He only ever talked about how hot this female character was. Like, men were never mentioned, but it was trendy, and you can't prove someone's not bisexual. So it was like that way. You can't, but
you can, Andrew.
But like for him, like he got to add a special label to himself and feel like he's part of this special group that's marginalized because he's part of that group now.
I feel like that's more your experience, given where you grew up. Where I grew up, no, like there was like maybe 2 gay kids in the whole town.
We had a gay straight alliance that was part of like that was a club at our high school.
No, we had maybe 2 gay kids in my whole high school. And it was like nobody paid attention to that. At my high school, they were like, "Oh, like if anything, it felt more like the '90s where that kid got bullied for being gay."
Which is not okay.
Which is not okay. Well, listen, bullying is sometimes okay.
Yeah, bullying someone because they're gay is not okay.
Bullying someone because they're gay is not okay. Bullying someone because they're a furry.
That's natural selection.
But
so our experiences were different.
My experiences were different, but I remember when I went to college, 2015, fall of 2015 through spring of 2017, before I got to Franciscan.
It's right in the gap that I talked about.
It was so bizarre to me.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, I was at a state school. It's kind of expected, but I was like, you're proud of the fact that you're doing all these things, right? A variety of different things.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes you fit in, but you feel special and unique because in the past people have been marginalizable and made to feel
belittled.
Belittled is a great way to phrase it. You're proud of the fact that you belong to this marginalized group that was marginalized for years and had been belittled for years prior, but now this group
is relatively accepted.
Relatively accepted, number one. Number two, is one of the largest social groups at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And you are still saying, well, we don't have access to certain things. Which, like, okay, you could make the argument that prior to this point, I don't think they had. I'm trying to remember when gay marriage became a law, but I think it was 2015,
It was
2016.
Obama was still president.
Okay.
It was probably
So gay
2012.
marriage was at that point, but it was still like, okay, what rights don't you have? Number one, but also the sense of just like, why is this something you're proud of? Like, of all the things you could be proud of about who you are, of what makes you who you are.
Mm-hmm. This is where they find their identity.
And if I'm not this, then what am I?
Yeah, and you can see that with
a variety of different things.
Yeah, like to kind of expand the topic a little bit. Like you look at people today. Labels make everyone today. There are people who the fact that like I'm autistic, I have this disability, I'm in this is my sexuality. Like there's in order to know someone before when you knew someone it was hi, my name is Andrew. Yep. That was the introduction. What you saw pretty much was what you got. I didn't need the fact that now when people like you see it at certain conferences they they go through and they say my name is this, these are my pronouns, this is my sexual, like they go through a list. Like you have to know so much about someone to understand who they are now, and you're like that seems so much. I don't need to know all these things about you. I don't want to, for one thing. But whether or not you agree with like all these different things, like these different things about them, that's their identity is not in I am this person. It is I am these labels. Yes. And eventually those labels are no longer trendy enough, or they're no longer niche enough because too many people have flooded the pool. So they have to add more labels. They got to find more things that are wrong with them. They got to find more. They got to find a more niche version of what, like, saying, "Oh, hey, I like comic books." No. I am a Marvel fan of this generation by this creator and this series. Like you have to eventually you come down to like if like use that as an example. This one panel on this one specific strip of this page is the only thing that I like about Marvel.
And then it goes into the whole thing of like you're not actually a Marvel fan unless you do the cosplays and you do this and you do that.
They start gatekeeping their own communities.
You haven't watched Ironheart yet? No, because it's garbage.
I stopped. The last Marvel thing I saw was Moon Knight, and that's just because I've always loved Moon Knight.
What was it that Thunderbolts was actually pretty good.
I saw some clips from it. I just haven't. I just kind of don't feel the need to spend money on.
But like, anymore. You're not a real fan unless right.
You're not a real member of this community unless X, Y, Z.
Well, and like, how many communities are you and I a part of?
You and I, like, one of my favorite things, like we talked about in this episode, D&D is a huge thing. And that is a co-opted. That's become a co-opted thing.
It's becoming gatekeeping, where it's like, oh, you mean you're not all like? Okay, this happened at the Ren Fair, right? Remember when we were walking around and you're like, Josh, there are certain things you can't say here, and I'm like, why? Because contrary to popular belief, Andrew's not actually the controversial one in this friendship.
I don't think that's contrary to popular belief. I think people figured out that I'm pretty.
You're literally wearing a hat that says it's not a war crime the first time.
It's never a war crime the first time, and that's just historical fact. Anyway, Uncle Dave asked me about that, and I was wearing my Spectrum Gunship shirt as well.
Yeah, see, the thing is, you are your controversy on the outside. I hide it under a very thin veneer of I'm chubby politeness, and then I'll just say something very off the cuff. They go, "What?"
Yeah, I again, my time in high school. I learned what I could and could not say, as far as like to just because it was easier.
I didn't care.
You didn't care, but you also didn't have the same. You like, for context, in case you don't know me, Todd, you're the only person who probably listens to this who doesn't know. Like, I was the president of the anime club at the park, for 2 years.
Nice.
Which anime, especially at that time, was very much like it was a hub for everyone. The idea being, hey, anime is for everyone, so you could be whatever you wanted to be and fit in with this club, which is great in that regard. Like anyone can like anime. There's an anime for everyone. The difference is I was very clear with everyone, like, hey, I'm just not like I didn't want to rock the boat because we were a big club and I was in charge of it. But I made it very clear, it's like this, like where my priorities and my morality, like where I drew the line on things. Like they were trying to make jokes about certain things. We were putting together like anime Cards Against Humanity, and there were a bunch of jokes that I said, guys, as the president of this club, I will not allow this to be a card. Well, why not? It's X, Y, and Z. Guys, I'm putting my foot down. I'm not comfortable with this. I think this is
Yeah.
against what I believe, and I think this is against a lot out of like code of conduct things that we should be respecting.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of flack for it, but I was like, but I knew kind of how to police it
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like, okay, so like the thing at the Ren Fair, I'm trying to remember exactly, but it was something I saw somebody walking around, and I go, and you saw it in my face, and you're like, Josh, no.
I can't even. My money's on something to do with furries.
It was someone of a particular gender expression dressed up as a fairy, but not of the same gender expression as they are as a human being.
Oh yeah.
And you had to stop me from saying something. Brendan had to stop me from saying something. Jenny had to stop me from saying something.
Yeah.
But it's like one of those things. It's like people are like, Josh, we don't want to get kicked out of here, and I'm like, why are they free to express themselves, but I'm not free to express what I believe? And I would never go up to someone and be like, hey, blah 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 blah. I would only make those jokes around my friends, but like people are so like,
yeah,
people are like, oh, you can't say those things out loud, and I'm like, why? They're allowed to express, right? And yes, and this is the whole thing of like public scandal, public sin. To get back into it, why is it allowed?
Mm-hmm.
Why do we permit something that we arguably like?
It's pretty cut and dry that we're against.
But it's not just that. Even in our conscience, like, different people would say different things. I would say more than likely, if you did a general poll, most children, when they see a man identifying as woman identifying as male, two gay men out at dinner together,
like they don't get it, or
they're confused.
Yeah, like
because there's something inside of us from our youngest age that says like, this is not right. This is not what we were made for.
Yeah, the natural law is not being reflected here.
And I've heard people say, well, it's not against the natural law. And I go, I want to know what your argument is for that. Why it's not against the natural law. And they go, I'm not going to get into an argument about it. And I was like, but you made I said that it's against the natural law. You said it's not. Mm-hmm. I can make my argument for why it's against the natural law. For you to not be willing to, like, I'm willing
They're
to
not willing to engage in discourse.
I'm willing to, here's the thing. I am always willing to admit where I am wrong. You have seen me eat crow how many times with your wife?
Occasionally, I also correct you and you're wrong.
And I eat crow.
Yeah.
So if someone is able to prove me that I'm wrong, that this is not against the natural law, then I would eat crow.
My favorite argument that they use is, well, like in nature, there's a lot of animals that are express homosexual tendencies. I'm like, cool. How many but are we? How
well, but even within that, right? I would say that those are sexually deviants in nature, and I'm saying that like from a purely scientific word, sexual deviancy,
deviating from the norm,
usually is a response to ostracization from the community or not having access.
Yeah.
To right, there's hermaphroditism in worms. Okay, that's a biological feature ensure that
it's an anomaly too.
Yeah. Well, it's not as much as you might think. Hermaphrodization in worm is actually
in worms. Yes.
Hermaphrodization in worms is very common, right? We're not worms, but it's for the insurance of the survival of the worm species.
Yeah.
Humanity doesn't need hermaphrodization to survive.
Yeah. We were set up a certain way. That tends to work.
And so all that to be said, it's like, why do we allow public sin to persist in the world? Be it of the kind where we have politicians voting for pro-abortion bills, be it we have people actively like going against the church's teaching on sexual morality in a public manner, be it we have people who are, committing crimes, and we just don't take like that's another thing, right? In New York, they have raised the limit of how much you can steal from a store before a store can prosecute you.
Yep. Because literally it costs them more to prosecute someone than the merchandise.
No, because some of that, but also the state of New York is like, well,
they're trying to be understanding.
We don't want to just lock people up for making mistakes, and I'm like, $15,000 is not a one-time mistake.
Yeah, I remember there was an episode of Blue Bloods that actually, talked about that, where like there was a kid who was stealing like iPads and like one of the not Jamie, what is his wife's name? I'm such a fake fan, clearly.
Gatekeeping.
But his wife was like at the store off duty, and she told the clerk, she's like, "Aren't you going to stop him?" She's like, "Store policy is they have to like to not mess with shoplifters because nothing happens to them anyways." So then she arrests the kid, and he's like, and her sergeant's like, "You have to let him off. He's not. It's not enough. He didn't steal enough for it to be worth prosecuting. Like it's not going to get prosecuted."
Yep.
And eventually, and they go through and they show like how that's not a good method to have. They caught the kid stealing more. They did a scared straight. Like the episode was actually very good. Um,
Right. So most stores, that's why they have cameras when you leave.
mm-hmm.
So most stores won't prosecute you the first couple times you steal. But I think in the state of Michigan, it's $7,000. Once you steal upwards of $7,000 in totality, so it can be over the course of 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever, before the statute of limitations, they can prosecute you for up to $7,000. Because most stores won't prosecute you below that.
Yeah.
But once you get to $7,000, then it's technically a felon.
Yeah.
Everything before that is misdemeanor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but kind of reel it back into like a why is it acceptable? It's because no one's willing. It's a twofold thing. No one's willing to call out these problems because I think it's starting to become a thing where people like you see like there's different fatigues online. Where people like this group of people's behavior, I'm over it. This group of people's behavior, I'm over it. Like, I think as a country, not maybe even as a world, but at the very least as a country, we're starting to see things like people like I'm kind of over accommodating everything. At some point, you have to take responsibility, personal responsibility. There's a black representative, and he says he's black, so I can say that. And he talks about I don't. He's like everyone says we won't be accommodating to people who don't have IDs. It's like, and he said black people can't get IDs. I have, and he sees to show off 6 different forms of government ID. He's like, how did I do this? This magical thing that no one said I could do because I take personal responsibility and accountability for my actions, and I've chosen to do the right things the proper way.
Yep.
And I think that like to kind of focus it back into like they did like there's no idea of accountability for the people the actions people are taking.
Right, and within that, right, we as Catholics. So how do we respond to this? Well, we respond with love.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We see a person committing public sin, public scandal. The first response is to pray for them. Right? That's the most loving thing you can do. One of the things that like has been such a refresher in the current relationship I'm in is for the first time in a relationship, I say I'm praying for Megan, and instead of being like, "Oh, I wish you would do more than just pray for me," she embraces that.
Mm-hmm.
She says, "Thank you so much."
Do you guys do the fist bump when I pray for Megan in our relationship? Do you do the little fist bump still?
No.
Miriam and I occasionally do that when we're praying together. Like pray for Miriam in our marriage, and we'll just go.
You gotta be careful how you do that. Homie, that was
I know.
black bar right there.
But we'll do the fist bump. Just as a throwback to the Fishers.
But you know what I mean? It's like pray for them, right? That's the greatest thing you can do for another person's soul. There's a book by a Protestant theologian. His name is Dietrich Bonhoeffer. He was one of the.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, Dietrich Bonhoeffer. So he's a German theologian, German Lutheran theologian.
Shocker, he's German with that name?
Yeah. He was one of the Christians who were martyred in Nazi concentration camps.
Okay.
So he was actually there. They made a movie. Angel Studios made a movie about him. I think it's a little fictionalized. It's like Bonhoeffer, pastor, spy, assassin.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, but he was a part of several plots to assassinate Hitler.
Okay.
But he was known to be spying for the Allies.
Okay.
He wrote in this book I think it's just called like Christian Community or something like that. I'd have to look it up. But he talks about like, be wary of the brother who loves community more than he loves the brother.
Dang, I really like that.
He said also be wary of the brother who talks about Jesus to the brother more than he talks to Jesus about the brother. If you love someone, talk to Jesus.
Dang,
about
Protestants are coming up with some good one-liners there.
But no, but like it's true.
Yeah,
Like
no,
pray for them, and then I would say the second thing is like pray for them. Build a relationship with them. You can't correct someone.
Father Mike Schmitz has a whole
Yeah.
video about this.
You can't correct someone who you aren't in a relationship with. You can't love. You can't correct what you do not love.
Yeah, and we've talked about this, right? Like, when people like, we both talk about like this, a person has this behavior that I don't really like. Well, have you talked to them about it? I'm not at the point. I've not loved them enough where I can take that type of corrective action.
Right. But then that question is okay, right? Like I did this exercise with a group of students, right? Okay, you're in a relationship with this person. What's the next thing to do to love them more? Right? To bring them closer to Jesus, right? Like whether it's like, okay, I think I need to invite them to my small group, or I think I need to take them out to lunch, or I think I need to like spend intentional time with them. Like, what's the next thing to do to build relationship with them for the goal of bringing them to Christ?
Yeah, and I want to harken back to when you talk about how powerful prayer is for someone. Have you heard the Penn Jillette story?
No.
So Penn Jillette, famous magician, comedian,
Penn and Teller.
Yeah, of Penn and Teller, yeah. And he's a very outspoken atheist.
Very outspoken.
Very outspoken about it. Not in like in a disrespectful way, but he's very clear, like this is his stance on it. Mm-hmm. He doesn't belittle people who believe things. But after a show,
I do know this one.
There was a guy who came up to him, and he was some
form of evangelical Protestantism.
Yeah, I think Presbyterian, whatever. And he said, "Hey, I really love the show, and I wanted to let you know I'm praying for you." And he gave him it was either Bible, New Testament, something like that. And when Penn was telling the story, he said that guy, that didn't radically change his views, and he's converting to Christianity. He's like, that's the first real Christian I met. Because if you believe what we believe, it's like if you truly believe what the Christians believe, do you care about people's souls? Because that guy cares.
So I heard a different version of it. Same story. I didn't hear about the Bible. I didn't hear about the praying for you part. He came up to Penn, and he said, "Hey, I just want to let you know that like I'm a Christian, and I believe that if you don't repent, you're going to hell."
Yeah.
Like I heard that phrase. I didn't hear about the praying for you part and that kind of stuff, but like,
yeah, and these might be like one story that's coming out of the amalgamation. But yeah, like the idea is,
well, it might be the same story. It's just we're remembering different parts. You've heard a different version of it told.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, he's like that's the first real Christian. Like he care. Like if you actually care about people's souls, you should be telling people these things.
Yeah.
Because that person loves me, and he's like that person loved me enough that he didn't want me to go to hell. And if he believes what hell is, what it is, you should want everyone to get to heaven and avoid hell.
So that the first component of praying for others, that second component of like being in a relationship with them, loving them, and then I think like even before you like we're still not for eternal correction yet.
Yeah.
Like the third thing is like, while being in a relationship with them, like witness to them, evangelize them, like, bring them to the foot of the cross, right? And while they're there, right, let Jesus work.
Get out of his way.
Right. I mean, be in a relationship with them. Invite them to, like, if you're Catholic, invite them to go to adoration. Invite them to join your men's group. Invite them to whatever it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, there's a group of us that go and play sports afterward, like on Friday nights, and then afterwards we have like a short Bible study. Like, I don't know if that's something you're into, but like, we'd love to have you.
Yeah. It's making sure that they know that they are welcome.
Yeah. And then like, let it happen. Let Jesus come. Let him enter. Right. We believe as Christians, as Catholics, right? St. Paul, he writes in the letter to the Hebrews, he says, the word of God is living and effective, sharper than any two-edged sword. Like, let the word of God, like, be the sword. Like, if we believe that the Eucharist is really Jesus' body, blood, soul, and divinity, right? As St. Faustina would say, like, if we were to sit for an hour in front of radioactive material, how much would we change? Now imagine the God of the universe and sitting in front of him. Like, bring them to the foot of the Eucharist, right? Like, let Jesus do the heavy lifting.
Yeah. You love them in the personal way that they don't have the relationship with Christ yet. So be that relationship, be that way to that bridge for them, but let Christ do the work.
And when the time comes that, it's like, okay, they're serious about following Jesus, right? Be willing to be like, hey, like, I love you. Like, I love you. I've spent this amount of time with you, right? And like, I love that you're following Jesus. I'm not saying it has to happen today, but like, can we talk about like this thing that's in your life? Be it you're engaging in an affair, be it you're engaging in an active homosexual lifestyle, be it
Whatever
you're
that cross is for
engaging in
them.
yeah, and just being able to be like, listen, I know it's tough, and I'm gonna love you still, regardless of what decision you make. I'm still gonna pray for you.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna choose to be in a relationship with you. But if you want Jesus and all he has to offer in your life,
You got to choose at some point.
You need to choose.
There's on that note, there's a my wife keeps me updated on this little story. There's a guy who has started reading. It's a man and who same sex attraction, very outspoken about like he's very clearly is, and he said I want to learn more about the church. So he's been doing really the most proper version of OCIA that I can think of. He's auditing a bunch of churches. He's like, I want to go to as many churches as I can, different denominations. I'm going to read the whole Bible. I'm going to read the catechism. Like he's going through and doing all the right steps to try to figure out. Like he's on this path for truth.
Yeah.
Like he's doing it in the probably the most dynamic way that I've seen. And I hate the comment section on it.
What's the name of his videos?
I have no idea. Miriam knows this.
Yeah, when you find out, let us know, and we'll drop it in the link to this. Yeah. We'll put maybe we'll watch some of his stuff and talk about it.
Yeah, but the videos themselves are like they're good. He's like, oh, I don't understand that. He has a funny bit where he goes to some Protestant church and they do the Nicene Creed and they say one Catholic Church,
one Holy Catholic Apostolic.
I don't think they say apostolic. I think they just say the Catholic. He's like I don't understand. What did they? What? Like, but Rose, all the comment sections, rather than praising this man who is deciding, hey, I want to seek truth in a way that is dynamic and really fulfilling. Like he really liked going to the Catholic Church. Like he would talk about his going to the Catholic Mass. All the comments they're gonna hate you because you're gay and they're gonna say you're going to hell. Like so many comments, not just on the Catholic video, but on a lot of videos. Like you're going like you gotta stop being gay if you want to be a Christian. So many comments along that line, and like you are those people are the reason that Christianity as a whole gets a bad rap. Because that's not love. That is just judgment. That is judgment without hoping to correct.
Yeah.
That's choosing to see someone as their label, and
rather than see them as a person to be loved.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like we've covered it pretty well. What are we at for time?
Just over an hour.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of an abrupt end, but I think that kind of some. Right.
I want to. There's one more point I want to bring up with it. Okay. Just kind of off that.
Okay, because it's starting to sprinkle, and I want to make sure your camera doesn't get destroyed.
So, the thing, again, people are finding their identity in all these other labels. I think the difference is with you and I, we can talk about all our favorite interests and all these things, but our label is not the most cisgendered white heterosexual male. It's I'm a child of God. I'm made uniquely in His image.
Beloved Son of the Father.
Yeah, and that's where we find our identity and what actually matters. At the end of the day, all those other labels, what our interests, who we're attracted to, all those things, they don't really matter. At the end of the day, that's not what's going to inform our decisions about how we get into heaven.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, is am I following Christ, and am I trying to love people properly?
Amen.
And I think that's what we need to, as a whole culture, not just within Christians, but as a culture around the world. That's what we need to come back to.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's take a second to take a deep breath because that was deep. How are you going deeper, Andrew? You hated that. I
hated every second about that.
How are you going deeper, man?
I joined a book club.
You joined a book club? You joined the book club?
I joined the Fellowship of Jesus in Monroe book club.
Oh, okay.
So I've been hanging out with more of the boys. Shout out Todd again. The rest of you guys will get shout outs if you actually listen to this.
Mitch.
Let me know.
Listen, Mitch.
Oh yeah, we gotta go quick. Start to sprinkle.
Yep.
But no, we meet once a week, once every other week, and we're just reading great works. Like we did some Chesterton. We did Justin Martyr. We're starting Chesterton's Orthodoxy.
I love this book club. I'm thinking about starting one here.
So. Yeah, and it's very short. Like we're not going like a whole book. Like we break up into chapters and we meet regularly rather than meet like say we're gonna read a book and then talk about it once a month. We're meeting regularly and talking about like how we're going through it and what are we. It's great and it reminds me a lot of like again like household like the conversations that we would have.
I'm thinking about starting a book club here. I think I don't know. I gotta figure out when I have time.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and they say it's gonna be 2 hours. It ends up being 3.5 hours, 4 hours, whatever.
because y'all meet every other Monday, don't y'all?
No, they meet every Friday, but it's not like every Friday. It's supposed to be every Friday. It's about every other Friday. From I just recently joined, but it's been great, and it's got not only am I learning more just in general, but it's another way for me to get closer to the guys that are in Monroe that are becoming some of my really close friends. How about you? Not to rush you, but it's starting to rain.
No. I'm going through my closet and throwing out stuff.
This does not spark joy.
This does not spark joy. No, I mean just paring things down. I don't know if I've already said that in one of these. I might have.
It's another way you're going deeper.
I gotta keep something for the next one. If we record another one today, we might not. But
we'll see if the weather holds up.
Yeah, we'll go to Horrocks. But no, I've been going deeper just by like trying to simplify my lifestyle, and as far as like, I have a lot of books.
We have a lot of clutter as people.
Yeah,
I'm very guilty of that.
Just getting rid of stuff. Like, I haven't read Percy Jackson in over 5 years. Do I really need to keep these books?
Mm-hmm.
So
that kind of thing. I think that's good. I think simplifying and paring things down is good, especially you're at a point in your life where a lot of change. You're moving. I
have a girlfriend that I really, really much love.
Yeah, like you're like the next 2 to 3 years of your life, you're gonna have a lot of transition very quickly. So being like you're kind of getting yourself ready for those that change.
You got married before you acquired a bunch of stuff. Now you just acquired a bunch of stuff as a married person. So
and most of my stuff is crap.
Yep. All right, man.
All right. Thank you all. That was probably super loud on the mic.
It was. That was the point.
Thank you all for sticking around for our ramblings. Hopefully,
if we get canceled, we get canceled. We don't care.
They can't cancel us. We're not in to start.
They'll cancel us retroactively, but who cares?
Yeah, who cares?
We'll be the uncancelable podcast. There's the unsubscribed podcast. We'll be uncancelable.
Uncancel. How to become uncancelable? I think that's something that they just did on the
yeah, they did.
The underwhelming podcast.
They taught because they were like, don't care.
Yeah, we're just gonna keep doing what we do.
Just be big enough.
We're not big enough, but I think we're small enough that we can't be canceled. Yeah. But anyway,
we'll have our friends cancel us, but I don't care that much.
Please like, comment, subscribe.
Hit that notification bell so you can find out every time that we record a video and drop it to you.
Yep, and
no edits.
Seriously though, leave comments if you listen. We'd love to hear what you guys have to say, what you think about. If there's topics you'd like us to look through, whether it's for a full episode or for maybe a quick fire catechesis, just whatever that looks like for you guys. We want you to be involved in that way. So, yeah.
Right. Peace out.
May God give you everything you deserve today.
Thanks, bud.